Hey guys, Dave from Nerdarchy, for nerds by nerds, hanging out with.
Nerdarchy is dead.
Sorry guys, in this GM 911, I get a little salty with this GM.
Jump down in the description below where you can sign up for Nerdarchy the newsletter, get weekly gaming tips, as well as learn how to game with Nerdarchy.
You'll also find the original post from this GM 911 down there. If you have your own, nerdarchy@gmail.com, or even a video suggestion, you can send them there.
Alright, so we have Samuel sent us a GM 911, and he wants to know, he's got these two rival kingdoms, and the players are kind of loosely affiliated with one of them, and one of the players put out a challenge to say, whoever can bring in the most powerful monster slain will earn his loyalty. Southern kingdoms went to go fight a hydra. Northern kingdoms kind of screwed up, and they disturbed a Tarrasque nest and have stolen one of their eggs.
Oops.
Players have no desire to go fighting a Tarrasque. What do they do?
All right, so one of the things is the DM's like, well, my original plan was to have the Northern Kingdom as the big bad, as the enemy. Well, guess what? They're about to be eaten by a Tarrasque. And now the big bad is a Tarrasque. You put it in your game, it exists. It's now going to eat the Northern Kingdom if nobody does anything. After it eats the Northern Kingdom, it is going to then begin to eat the Southern Kingdom.
Because once they get up and they realize, oh, my egg's not there, I'm going to be hungry and I'm going to be pissed off. And a pissed off and hungry Tarrasque, not a good idea.
So this opens up a whole can of worms of what you can do. One is now the two kingdoms may come together because it's a mutual threat. They're like, oh, I hate you and you hate me, but you know what I hate more than you?
The Tarrasque.
Being eaten by a Tarrasque. That sucks.
All right, so if you read the thing, the Northern King's army has the egg, and they're halfway between the mountain range where the Tarrasque is and the kingdom. The players are on flying carpets. Now, if that moment is where the game is paused, I'd see no problem in saying, okay, guys, in order to not fight the Tarrasque, you got to put that egg back, which means you guys now have to take down those knights, get the egg safely, and do a stealth mission and put it back. If you can manage to do that, you've avoided this problem.
Right.
But the players have to be on board with that plan, and you have to be prepared to run that type of encounter. I don't know how big of a group of soldiers, have this egg, but you could run it as a stealth attack in the middle of the night, so that while they're camped out, okay, go in, sneaky, take, off you go.
Or they could go in with diplomacy and be like, do you really know what you took? Do you know what's going to happen? Do you know everybody's going to get eaten because you got this? We need to put it back. And then, okay, maybe we should put it back.
So, there's two different possibilities, and I'm certain that there are others as well. Now, if you're not prepared to go down that road, you then have to look at what they've put forth and see of what is going to be the course of events. Now, do you want to narrate, all right, the Tarrasque has woken up right then and there, and this is what he's doing, and everybody, the Southern Kingdoms, Northern Kingdoms, and the players all need to decide what they're doing. You could run it total, old school news style. Okay, this is what's currently going on. I know they said the Southern Kingdoms don't have access to a lot of magic, and there's not even a whole lot of magic in the party itself. I mean, it's a Paladin, a Druid, a Fighter, Barbarian, and something else.
It was a Fighter and a Barbarian.
Okay.
Separate, I think.
So there's no arcane casters. There's no one in the party to be dishing out all this stuff or even know all that much about Tarrasques. So it's really up to you as the GM. You could literally, okay, well, Tarrasques typically sleep for long periods of time. Well, you could have 100 years to figure out how to deal with this plan, and literally the humans will go through multiple generations of what's going on. So it might not even be a problem now, but it's eventually going to be a problem. So that's one of the layers to look at.
And that's the other thing. Are you saying the Tarrasque is woken and the players already know that? Really, you got all these the string of problems that like you like put there, like, and then you're like saying, "Hey, help us! I have a problem." Well, like the Tarrasque is there because you decided to let randomness happen,
Hmm.
and which is cool. I'm totally cool with that. But at the same time, you don't seem to be willing to let go of this other arc you had going on, and let it evolve and change. And here's the thing: like you have to, if you're going to allow for player agency, and you're going to allow for randomness, then the other thing you're going to have to allow for is letting go of your stories, and letting them die on the side of the road, uncared for and unloved by anyone.
And looking at where the story arc is, it is great. It's a great idea to actually be like, here's a problem. It's a problem that you eventually have to deal with, and a perfect example of this is the execution in your game. When we were 6th level, we met an Empyrean. This is the godlike titan of a being in the monster manual that is so out of our reach at that point in time. And oh, by the way, he's got 100 minions right then and there. And a percentage of the party was prepared to go into battle. And it flabbergasted everybody, or flabbergasted Dave for certain. And we realize over the scope of our investigation and what have you, this isn't anything that we need to deal with right now. It's something that will be a problem and that we have to find a solution to. But we physically saw the big bad that we have to deal with at level 6. We're level 12, 13 at this point in time. Haven't seen him since. We're trucking along on our plan to eventually deal with him, but this is who we're supposed to go up against when we get to level 20. So you know what? The party's 16th level. You've got 20 years, let's just say, before the Tarrasque is going to hatch. Let these kingdoms diplomatize or fight out their squabbles, and once that's done and over with, you can go on an adventure or two, be prepared to deal with the Tarrasque, and then go deal with the Tarrasque. You've just changed the course of the game and added a few extra sessions, or you've extended the game into epic levels. It's one of those things that happens sometimes, and as Dave says, if you're going to allow for agency and randomness, well, you're going to have to be willing to have to deal with that in some way, shape, or form. So, put the egg back. Don't put the egg back. But if you don't put the egg back, the Tarrasque is a problem. At some point in time, you're going to have to deal with it.
Have the eggs all start hatching. There's a ton of like fun things you can do with this, and in my opinion, might actually be more interesting than the original storyline, especially because the players are taking direct hand in it.
Right.
And and it's there. Like the way it's worded, it makes me feel like this is an upcoming thing, a pending thing, not not in the distant future. But otherwise, because you like you said, you could literally just continue with your storyline and pretend it didn't matter.
So then the other side of the thing is players don't want to fight a Tarrasque. All right, great. This is what happens. Your campaign world has changed. Tarrasque wakes up. It comes and destroys the northern kingdom. If they're not prepared to be able to repel a Tarrasque, and only you know the stats of who's there. Do they have heroes that are the equal to your players or not? If they don't, well then chances are that northern kingdom's going to get wiped. Then decide. Well, is the Tarrasque going to go back to sleep? Is its thirst slated? Has it retrieved its egg and it's happy, or is its thirst for destruction and vengeance, so high that it's going to continue on? Well, are the players going to flee when it comes to the Southern Kingdom? How far do they run? How long before the Tarrasque is sated and needs to go back to sleep? Well, whatever the fallout of that is, that's where you pick up your pieces. That's where you continue your story. Your campaign world has changed because of the events that transpired. Players had a hand in it, for good or for ill, and move on.
Next campaign, you have two fallen empires to play with. Is the way they do go about it. So yeah, like this is like a non-problem. I think what you see as a problem, I see as more fun things to play with in my game.
Absolutely.
And I would totally wake the Tarrasque up right away. Maybe have all the eggs hatch, and have all this crazy stuff go on. Maybe maybe have all the eggs hatch, have the hatchlings go off, and the players are gonna have to like put them down before they become full grown Tarrasques, and then after that, the Tarrasque wakes up, but now the Tarrasque is really pissed off because you killed off its babies, and and it goes on its rampage. Then you have to put the Tarrasque down, and for like a high level party, Tarrasque is relatively easy to beat by itself. They've really didn't do a good job with the Tarrasque in this edition. Just remember, if they're using those flying carpets to have your Tarrasque, pick thick chunks of earth up and rocks and throw them at them and try and knock them off the carpets and
Absolutely.
stuff like that.
And there's size damage for things in a DMG. So make sure you're doing a decent clip with those hurled rocks.
Yeah. You can even just look at like stone giants and storm giants.
Mm.
Well, maybe not storm giants, cloud giants, and the like to get an idea for what the
Where
damage
to
is.
start.
Yeah. And then again, there's like damage by level and things like that in the DMG as well. Like you said, you could go by. So this way, make sure that you properly threaten them with the Tarrasque.
Yeah, we've seen Tarrasques get peppered by ranged attacks. That it's like, okay, well, it moves its 30 to 60 feet. It takes 200 damage. It moves it 60 feet. It takes another 200 damage. Like,
Yeah. I mean, but you could do other fun things too, like. Maybe this whole event, like Colt, starts springing up. In the previous editions, they had a prestige class called
Waker of the
Beast. And these guys are like, oh my God, we don't even have to wake it. It's already awake. This is amazing. And they start showing up like, deadheads at a Grateful Dead concert. And they start, the hippie drum circles begin to form. And maybe they start trying to lure it to more and more civilized lands. Yeah, you could do. There's a ton of story arcs I could see springing from this. Step one is let go of whatever you had planned. Yeah, you've let it change now. Now you just got to let it go and have fun.
The risky opportunists that are looking through the rubble of the fallen cities for the treasures that are left behind.
Well, you get all kinds of looters and rioting starts happening in the kingdoms because they're like, we're all going to die anyway. You have like the prophecy guys on the corner, yelling about...
The end is nigh.
Yeah,
the end is nigh.
Dude, there is a ton of fun, Samuel, you can have with this game. You just need to let it go a little bit.
Oh, run with it, dude. When players make changes to your game, go with it and have fun. It makes them feel that they're more attached to the story that you've written than just giving them the story that you've written.
It's always better to feed them back their own story.
Indeed.
So with that, what do you guys think? How would you help Samuel? Down in the comments below. While you're at it, like, share, and subscribe.
You can check us out on nerdarchy.com.
So until next time,
stay nerdy.